Caitlin Clark and the psychological pressure of the WNBA that has contributed to prolonging the Fever star's injury. Mental performance coach Bryn Drescher suggests relentless schedules and structural challenges are fueling injuries across the league. Caitlin Clark's arrival has reshaped the women's basketball landscape in undeniable ways. The irony, however, is that the rookie who has delivered so much attention to the league has appeared in only 13 games this season. Publicly, her absence has been attributed to injuries, including a left quadriceps issue that kept her sidelined for 2 weeks. But the bigger story may lie in the structure of the WNBA itself, where players face punishing schedules and year-round obligations that push their bodies to the limit. The grind behind the spotlight. From the league's earliest days, financial realities forced players into a cycle of non-stop competition. In 1997, when the WNBA debuted, the average salary was around $28,000, with the best-paid players earning just under $50,000. By the turn of the millennium, stars such as Isabelle Fijalkowski, Cindy Brown, and Andrea Tsong-Reeves chose to play in Europe, where they could make nearly 3 times as much. That trend continues today, with many athletes spending their winters overseas before returning for the WNBA summer season. The result is an unrelenting workload. Los Angeles-based mental performance coach Bryn Drescher told Essentially Sports that this cycle creates inevitable physical breakdowns. When you're using the same muscles over and over again with no rest, it is likely that they will fail, she explained. And here's the other thing people don't consider. I have this thing I say as a mental performance coach: there are psychological reasons why physiological things break down. In other words, players who won't rest sometimes find that their body forces them to rest through an injury. For Clark, who had never experienced significant injury setbacks in college, the sudden series of physical issues was a shock. Drescher noted that invisible pressures can weigh heavily on stars expected to carry teams and the league as a whole. A mental health or a physical brain health issue is not visible to the outside body, right? So it looks like you're fine, right? So there's a lot of pressure for them to play, especially when they're counted on and everybody needs them, she said. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be the face of change. From the moment she stepped into the WNBA spotlight, fresh off rewriting NCAA history books, she carried with her a crown that the world placed upon her head before she even signed her first professional contract. She wasn't just a player anymore. She was a brand, a movement, a walking headline. Every three-pointer, every pass, every expression on the court was magnified. That spotlight, dazzling and warm to fans, can be suffocating for the person standing beneath it. Now, as her injury lingers longer than fans or analysts expected, many are starting to see the less visible culprit, the invisible, relentless psychological pressure of the WNBA and its expectations. The physical injury meets mental strain. Sports injuries are rarely just physical. Doctors can diagnose a sprained ankle, a strained ligament, or a bruised back. But what they can't put on an MRI is the way pressure burrows into the mind, delaying recovery and amplifying pain. For Clark, her injury isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening against the backdrop of a league that has never seen this level of public scrutiny. Every day she sits out, headlines erupt. Is she tough enough? Did the fever push her too hard? Is her body breaking down already? The WNBA calendar leaves little breathing room, and the emotional weight of knowing millions are waiting for your return only compounds the physical process. Healing becomes not just about rest and rehab but about silencing the voice that whispers, "You're letting them down." A new era, a new kind of pressure. The WNBA has had stars before, but Clark represents something seismic. She arrived not just as an athlete but as a cultural phenomenon. She sold out arenas in cities that once struggled to fill half their seats. She became the face of endorsements, national broadcasts, and viral social media clips. With all that came the expectation that she wouldn't just play, she'd save. Save the fever, save the league, save the perception of women's sports. That's a weight few rookies in professional history have carried, male or female. And when she falters, when her body demands rest, the disappointment ripples far beyond Indiana. This creates a dangerous cocktail of guilt and urgency. Instead of rehab being a sanctuary, it becomes another performance. Every exercise, Every missed game, every update from the training staff is dissected in real time. For a competitor like Clark, whose identity is rooted in resilience and production, the demand to return quickly can overshadow the body's actual readiness. The isolation of stardom. Injuries are isolating for any athlete. When your team travels, practices, and competes without you, the rhythm of belonging breaks. For Clark, the isolation is amplified by her singular status. Teammates support her, but none fully carry the same media circus. No one else is asked to do interviews about ticket sales, television ratings, or the future of the league. So when she sits, it isn't just a personal frustration, it's a national story that can create a spiral where the injury feels heavier than it is. Rest days turn into restless days, and every ache becomes magnified by the thought that someone, somewhere, is questioning her toughness. The double-edged sword of fame. Clark's fame has brought unprecedented visibility to the WNBA. But it also brings scrutiny few athletes are prepared for at 22. Social media, once a celebratory space, can be ruthless. One missed shot, one game off the court, one moment of visible pain becomes fodder for narratives about fragility or failure. This psychological warfare has very real physical consequences. Stress hormones like cortisol can hinder recovery, weaken the immune system, and exacerbate inflammation. In other words, the very pressure to return quickly may be slowing her healing. Lessons from sports psychology. Sports psychologists have long studied the intersection of injury and pressure. One core principle: athletes who feel external pressure to return often underreport pain, rush rehab, and risk re-injury. The safest recoveries come when players feel empowered to heal on their own timeline. But for Clark, does that timeline even exist? With networks promoting her as the centerpiece of broadcasts, with ticket buyers traveling hundreds of miles to see her play, with young girls holding up "I came for Caitlin's" signs, the idea of a private, patient recovery feels almost impossible. Her situation raises a larger question. Can a league hungry for growth and visibility also protect its brightest stars from burnout? The Fever's dilemma. The Indiana Fever, caught in the crosshairs, must balance two conflicting truths. Clark's long-term health is paramount, but her short-term presence drives unprecedented revenue and attention. Sitting her may protect her body, but it risks cooling the fever pitch the franchise has relied upon. Playing her risks compounding the injury, both physically and mentally. For the coaching staff and medical team, this becomes more than a medical decision. It's a psychological negotiation.